This is Paul Mackey on the One Idjit's Thoughts on podcast on day 31, the final day of the Dog Days of Podcasting Challenge. Today could wind up being short. I'm writing this info ahead of checking out the content because I've read a lot of Amazon reviews about this DVD set. If you haven't noticed for yourself, there seems to be a trend toward blended reviews on Amazon where a product winds up with all the reviews for the products from the company. For this Men with Brooms set, we have reviews that caution there are only 3 episodes present, and then reviews that state that there were 30 episodes produced, and why won't they release the second half of the season? There's no question there were only 12 episodes of Men with Brooms. This is all relevant because for this final episode of Dog Days, I'm looking at the Bloopers and Webisodes content. One review praises the Webisodes as animated short stories. In my experience, Webisodes can describe anything from original short-form stories to repackaged scenes from the show. So I'm hoping for original content, and animation would be a happy bonus. If it's neither, this will be a short episode because I will just report it's a repackage. But first, I'm going to check out the bloopers. And I'm back from the bloopers. About 10 minutes of breaking character, giggling, and mugging, along with a few physical errors. I was hoping there'd be a fantastic blown line or something to include in the audio here, but alas, that was not available. So time to find out the true nature of the Webisodes. And I'm back again. So the Webisodes were little animated shorts, roughly 1.5 to 2 minutes each. A bunch of them were completely about curling. I suppose as advertisements for the main series, that's a fail, or at least a bait and switch. The last one, At the Beep, was about making a voicemail greeting. And, of course, the Rockford Files starts out every episode with Rockford's answering machine greeting. Am I living in a simulation? Does it curl? The Webisodes are very curling heavy compared to the main series, like my favorite line.
What do you have planned for the shot?
What would you do?
Okay, the ice is pretty swingy. If you can make it through that portal with peel weight, you might be able to hit and roll off that biter and take out a counter or two.
Yeah, I could do that with the biter.
You have a better shot?
Well, maybe I'll glide jam past the rook and into the bishop.
That's chess.
Well, I believe that wraps up all the Men with Brooms content that has been made, so I suppose I should do this one more time. What worked? They didn't just make a 12-episode remake of the plot of the movie, though I think that kind of thing sort of fell out of favor after the 80s. Also, they didn't just put together a new cast of the same character archetypes matching the movie. It was funny in many places. So what's the problem with that, eh? They took a sports comedy and turned it into a workplace sitcom, with a main workplace that wasn't even in the curling club. It really felt like someone had the series in mind, then grafted in the curling so they could use the title. Aside from the meat spiel to kick it all off and the vote for Skip, I'm not sure if any of these guys really care about curling all that much. Perhaps they thought a traditional will they won't they plot is tired, and they may be right. Will Gary screw up his latest chances with April felt like a poor substitute. Enough of the comedy was meh that I'm not surprised this was a one-and-done series. But they did wrap it all up in a nice way, in the airing order at least. And that wraps up Dog Days of Podcasting 2023 in a nice way, I suppose. Next time you hear this podcast, it'll probably be Gravity Falls, and meanwhile I'll be figuring out what series to put in this slot, and looking to find my way back into the world of actual RSS feed podcasting. So, I guess I wish you, and myself, happy hunting! You have been listening to the One Idjit's Thoughts on podcast, produced by Paul Mackey in association with quadruplez.com. Theme music is Too Good by Jack Mangan and is used by permission from him. If you would like to hear other podcasts by me, you might try the Ghostlight podcast, a completed introcast about the TV series Slings and Arrows, or Idjitcast, an introcast for the TV series Supernatural. Both can be found on fine podcasting listening software everywhere or at quadruplez.com. In my experience, webisodes can show anything from short-form stories. In my experience, webisodes can describe anything from short... In my experience... In my experience, webisodes can describe anything from original short-form stories to In my experience, webisodes can describe anything from short... See, I got some bloopers in after all.